Hello. So for my instructional design, I chose Merrill's First Principles of Instruction. And I picked this one specifically because one, I like how it focuses on using real world problems to teach students, and two, how it stresses the connection between what students are learning in school and what they're going to be doing in the real world, and how there should be a strong connection there. So the first article that I read, if I can skip to it, is basically Merrill's, original article on the first principles of instruction. And he has 5 main steps or main principles for instruction. The first one is that learning is promoted when learners are engaged in solving real-world problems, like I mentioned. 2, learning is promoted when existing knowledge is activated as a foundation for new knowledge. 3, learning is promoted when new knowledge is demonstrated to the learner. 4, learning is promoted when new knowledge is applied by the learner. And then lastly, learning is promoted when new knowledge is integrated into the learner's world. So I really love these steps, and I feel that they are extremely research-based in the fact that, the real-world problems is relevant for students. When they activate their background knowledge, it helps them learn the new knowledge. Direct instruction is step 3 when you're demonstrating it to the learner. And then lastly, when they're able to actually apply what they learned and integrate it into the real world, that is super beneficial, like I said, especially in the secondary setting. So those are kind of the steps that he talks about in this article. And he also states that research shows that the most effective learning takes place when students learn through problem-centered learning. And I wanted to add a quote in here because he kind of talks more about problem-centered instruction. And he said that it is not topic-centered instruction where components of the task are taught in isolation. So an example that he added was, you won't understand this now, but later it will really be important to you, before introducing the real world task to the students. So students should be able to see the whole problem and not just, you'll understand this later, or anything like that. So I did love that article, and that's the first principles of instruction. The second article that I chose is also by Merrill, as well as Gilbert, and it was called Effective Peer Interaction in a Problem-Centered Instructional Strategy. So this one really focused on his principles and how important it is to have peer interaction in all of the steps that I had mentioned in the last slide. So he said that peer interaction is the most effective when it's orchestrated around a progression of problems, and that peer interaction should take place in all principles of instruction through peer sharing during activation, peer discussion during demonstration, collaboration during application, and peer critique during the integration. So I really like how he kind of provides examples of how to have peer interactions for each principle that he has. What he says, and it makes a lot of sense, is that when peers are able to collaborate, it requires them to kind of process that information more, because they have to be able to explain it to their peers. So if they're able to explain it to their peers, it allows them to, have a deeper understanding, and overall, being able to vocalize and explain what they're thinking is an important skill for students to have. Problem-based learning provides structure for student groups and a goal to work towards, because they are working, obviously, towards a problem there. The last article that I read was called A Task-Centered Instructional Strategy, also by Merrill. For this, he says that real-world problems should be obviously involved in the classroom, but with an emphasis on demonstration or examples, rather than on discovery or exploration. And I feel that a lot of people nowadays might argue with that, but I do think that in providing examples with an emphasis on demonstration. It kind of takes that stress away from the students and teachers, because some students might not have it in them to be really explorative when it comes to tasks. So giving them examples to kind of work through. Students can engage in task-centered work individually or as a group, which is nice because it works either way. Task-centered instruction incorporates both knowledge and skill in order for students to successfully complete a task. So I think this is especially important because students might have knowledge, they might know about something, but not necessarily how to apply it, and that's where task-centered instruction comes in. He kind of breaks the instruction into 6 components called the pebble and the pond effect. So there's the whole task, progression, components, strategy, interface, and production. And he explains this more in this article, but basically, they're taking the whole task and breaking it down. So I did choose to read 3 articles by Merrill just because I wanted to kind of learn more about specifically what he envisions the first principles of instruction to look like and how they should be implemented into the classroom. So thank you so much for listening. Like I said, I really appreciate Merrill and his approach to kind of like real life learning and more applicable learning for our students. And I know I mentioned it's important for high school students, but obviously it's important for all students to be able to connect what they're learning to the real world.